So the big question on everyone's minds this week is whether to protest or not to protest, because there's a huge worldwide rally organised for this Saturday the 20th of March, which is of course the spring equinox. A lot of people are saying it's a trap, some kind of false flag, a bit like the Sarah Everard vigil, where there's a huge potential for peaceful protests to be sabotaged by the crisis actors and give the police yet another excuse to clamp down on our basic human right to protest. So it's an interesting one, and I've been putting out a few messages by saying this week, actually, my feeling is that the best form of protest is just to simply exercise our daily right to live life normally. And it's quite interesting yesterday because my tyre was going a bit flat, so I took it to the tyre place locally and they sorted it out just for 20 quid cash. And afterwards I reflected that there was no COVID whatsoever. The place was open as normal. No one was wearing a mask. No one asked me to wear a mask. No one was fussy about, oh, I can't accept cash, it might have COVID on it. And I just thought, oh, how wonderful that was, just to have a normal transaction without any of the pantomime nonsense that's imposed. And so this is one of the things that I've been saying quite consistently now for the past weeks and months, is this bulldozer is just going to keep steamrolling ahead with its mask diktats, the vaccine passports, the restrictions on this, that and the other, the intimidation. And so we have a choice. We either waste our energy trying to fight it, or we just focus all our energy now on creating the alternative. And you know, this issue of taking back power is a really important one. And if you've ever been in a relationship with an abusive partner, an abusive man specifically, although I know some men are subject to domestic abuse, but if you've ever extricated yourself from a relationship with a domineering, command-controlling, abusive partner, you will know that there are some really simple steps to follow. The first gateway out is to find some allies and supporters. This might be local people, it might be therapists, it might be a local community support group. In the case of domestic abuse, there are many domestic abuse helplines. So the first thing is surround yourself with supporters who are on your side, who you trust, and who are there to help you. So the second thing, once you've got that in place, is to get yourself to a safe space, which is easier said than done if you're in a domestic abuse situation. But extricating yourself to the situation into a safe space is really important for your nervous system to heal. And that is one of the reasons why I spend so much time in the country. I've extricated myself from a very difficult relationship, and I now rent an amazing, beautiful, safe space out here in the country, contrary to what a lot of people say. Oh, you're a capitalist, you've got loads of money, you can afford to have this amazing life. I rent a house in the country. All of these videos are filmed on public footpaths which are open to anyone to walk on. So, you know, these are choices we have. You don't have to be rich and privileged to enjoy the countryside. So finding a safe haven is really important. And the important thing about being in a safe space, being in nature, getting yourself away from danger. What it means is you're not on predator alert the whole time. It gives your nervous system a chance to regulate and to settle, and that way you don't have to be in predator alert the whole time, waiting whether to go into fight-flight response. You can really start to relax and calm your nervous system. And from that space, from that being centered, learning and practicing how to be in that peaceful space where you're not activated, and practicing being in that center, that gives you the strength to go back into the city, into the fray, and not be pulled off center into fight and flight mode. So, we are in a kind of global abuse situation. And of course, anyone who's been in a challenging relationship with a controlling man knows this. They will use every tool, every lever they can to make your life hell. They will use money and fear around money, threat of removing your money if you don't comply. They'll also use your children and exert pressure over your children and create fear in your children and control them through anger and make your life hell that way. And isn't this just what we're going through? Isn't this exactly what our government is doing? It's using our children, it's getting to us through our children, it's getting to us through money and finances, particularly if you're employed by the government, if you're a teacher, a police officer, if you work for the NHS. Unfortunately, you are now dependent on the controlling, abusive force, and if you don't comply with their diktats, then your money supply is cut off. So these are all forms of abuse, they're all forms of coercion. So extricating ourselves from these situations is really, really important. And someone posted on my Telegram group this morning, easier said than done. And, as an entrepreneur, as a business mentor, I've always said to people, there's nothing more dangerous than being in business with just one customer, being in business just reliant on one customer. And essentially that is what employment is. You're in business, but you've only got one customer. And if that customer goes or decides to change its terms and conditions or exert its power, you are in a very vulnerable position. And that is why multiple revenue streams, building up your resources, creating safety, security in other ways, that is really important. And that is why I'm really advocating, find your local support group, find your local community. We're even looking here at creating eco-communities. Certainly I'm looking at creating one in the Peak District. And the idea is we pool our resources, invest the money in land, and a group of people come together who've got a whole variety of skills. Some people may be good at farming, some people may be good at healing, some people may be good at cooking, some people may be good at marketing and communication. Hey, so when you get together a group with a common purpose, shared visions, values, obviously in any relationship, in any group, you hit some challenges along the way, but hey, how much fun would that be to unhook from the controlling, abusive powers and start forging your own destiny and not be living in fear because all of your basic needs are covered. And when you get to that safe space, when you've got that community support in place, then you become a formidable force because you're able to hold your center. You don't have to go into fight flight. You can just say no. No, I do not consent. No, I do not comply. No, I'm not frightened of you. And no, I'm not even going to fight you because you don't have any power and there's no point. I'm just going to focus all of my energy on creating the world I do want, together with these other people who are all aligned. Let's keep pouring our energy into creating the world we do want, and let's not give any more energy. Let's not feed the Wetiko through fear and anger. So I'm sure that many millions of people will go to the streets in protest this weekend. But my protest is going to be a silent one, because I'm not complying with these rules. I haven't worn a mask through the whole of this. I refuse to have the genetic engineering injection. I'm not playing the game. I'm not playing the game, and I'm not going to pour energy fighting their game. Sending you lots of love. Bye for now.